All right. Hello and welcome to what is unofficially the sixth episode, most likely the first episode of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, presented by me, Johnny Dolezal. I have with me today Michael Raptis.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. So Michael and I first met when I started To-Shin Do at the Orlando To-Shin Do Club.
Yes, you sure did start.
Yes.
That was in our other building too, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was,
In our
I
other
think,
location.
I can't remember when, but I think I started 7 or 8 months ago. I'm yellow black, so it would make sense to be around that time.
369. Yeah. That seems about right.
Mm-hmm.
So still less than a year?
Yep. Yeah.
Right on. But getting close to it though.
Yep. Yeah. More a year than not.
Yeah, that's true. And then once you pass a year, and then you just, man, it flies from there.
Yeah. It's weird because when I was looking back on it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much. And then I'm like, oh my God, I've only been doing this for 7 months. Like, it's crazy because, like, going into it, I thought, like, well, I actually had no idea what to think. But my perception was that, like, you would see progress every day. And you do. Every different time you train, you see progress in different ways. At least I do. And
Right. It'll be easier to see the progress earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
For sure.
Yeah, it's like as you're going through, you know, there's obviously that huge steep learning curve that you get, and then probably you know, by the time you reach all those different degrees of black belt, it kind of just flattens out, but continues to rise. That would be my assumption, and I don't know because, like I said, I've only been doing this for 7 months.
Yeah. It's one of those things that people talk about, like instant gratification. So it's interesting how that works, especially in the business of martial arts, even kind of outside of the realm of To-Shin Do. You think about the fact that as a business, what you're providing is a service, which is the instruction of, you know, either a sport or self-defense or combat or whatever brand you go for. But because people, they want indication, they need those indicators that they are doing well, right? And especially when you're brand new, you don't, whether it's something that you like either had never really you may not have known about martial arts prior to that at all, and you just thought it would be something that was cool, or maybe you just like the movies, but like because they just don't know what they don't know about, like, well, how do I gauge, you know, what these successes are and how I should feel about this, and like, am I, you know, what's like my status and progress, and so that's like, you know, you think about the belt system, and the belt system is a way for the staff or instructors to identify where the students are at in their learning, so you can appropriately teach to their level. But the belt ends up being, to the person wearing it, especially more so early on, one of those things that you think about, like, oh, well, I'm not going to, you know, from class to class, you know, you're learning certain skills and getting better, but it's one of those things that, you know, people end up thinking, oh, well, I know I'm doing good because I got this next belt. Mm-hmm. And so as a business, that becomes the model. It's like, so every so often we give a belt so you can have that gratification of this and that. And so it's that trade-off of like, being practical as a way to identify what skill level someone's at or where they are in the curriculum, and then like as a way to keep paying customers, continuing to pay because it's hard for people early on, especially like I was saying, to kind of understand what is important. But it's also different too, because someone might be in martial arts just for just to try to stay fit, or someone might be doing it because they want to have a family activity with a family member, or do something with their roommate, or because they were in an unfavorable or unfortunate situation that they want to avoid. Could be for a million different reasons. So until either someone comes in like with a solid understanding of why they're there, which I would say is not as common. Most people are just trying to explore it, see if it's something new, like a hobby sort of thing, and then it grows into something more important because they, over time, define why it's important for themselves. So at 7 months, of course, you recognize that you're learning stuff, and I just hit past my 10-year mark.
Jeez.
This previous year, and you hear that stuff, and they say it's like, the more you know, the less that you do. Mm-hmm. Like the more that I'm learning, also the more that I understand how little I know, which for one doesn't make me an authority on this kind of stuff, but talking from my experiences, it's interesting because I have to personally understand what those small successes and gains are from class to class or week to week, because between belts now is years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like I can't gauge my progress solely on that anymore.
Yeah.
I have to gauge it on something that's a little, it can still be defined from curriculum, but it's more, and you get indicators from your peers and teachers and even students, but a lot of it is stuff that you kind of define that are important for yourself.
And
goals and such.
Yeah, and a lot of the progress that I hear, like when I talk to the upper levels, so anyone other than me, basically, they always like phrase it in a way that, like, when they went to to study the next element, they were all of a sudden made aware of how efficiently they could operate in the earth element, and they kind of like retroactively learned that, oh, like that is a lot of progress that I made. Like I used to be not be able to do this particular move at all, and then now that I'm studying something a little different, and then when they go back to show me, they're like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. And then like Greg was saying, he's like, oh, this used to be the hardest thing for me to do. And then I went to study water, and then I came back to show you this earth thing, and it was like, oh, I guess I can do it now.
Right. There's a bunch of factors to that too. Of course, one of which is, I mean, what is your current focus, right? So if someone's so focused about their current material, a lot of the times there's going to be, you're going to be at a certain level maybe of like hyper critical. You're going to maybe be like hypercritical of it. Not critical even, but like even as far as like that's where your awareness lies. Mm-hmm. So it'll be more apparent to you in that moment that something is challenging. And then you go back to something that used to be challenging, and comparatively it doesn't seem as challenging anymore, because now you are facing or focused on a new challenge that may or may not be the same amount of difficult for you to get. Relatively speaking, though, it may just like, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought, because now I'm dealing with something that seems harder or is harder.
Yeah.
But also it is just one of those things that you just are, you have gained more skills by then. So because the way our curriculum is structured and the way that the elements are cumulative, you learn concepts regardless of the and I'm putting up air quotes here, like elemental curriculum. You're still learning a thing that's not necessarily defined by curriculum. It's just presented by curriculum, that just makes your taijutsu or your To-Shin Do better
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
And I think both of those together are what I find to be like how people experience that. Me too. By the way, I still experience that for sure.
Yeah, and that, like, when you're talking about that, it's kind of like going through school as a kid, you know, and it's like, let's say you're like adding, like, I don't know when people add. Sorry, I forgot when I learned to add.
It's been a long time, huh?
But let's just say it was the first grade.
Early on, yeah.
Yeah, early on. You like learn how to add and subtract.
At least basic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then by third grade, you're multiplying, and then you go to help a first grader with this homework. Then it's like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Well, yeah, it's because you use those skills. And also, adding is you can use that same logic to help you learn what multiplication is. So there's like different things that you can use to help you learn different skills that are kind of around the same. They're around the same principles.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, you could equate that kind of experience to a lot of different situations. So yeah, I mean, like, but what, you're just shy of a year. You've gone through the majority of level 1, which is this having confidence with your personal space, you know, feeling grounded. And where you're at right now is allowing yourself to, because you've already experienced the individual pieces, is focusing less on the pieces that create the whole, but what the whole is, which is still hard.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time that you're seeing like the big picture of what Earth is. But that's what the focus is now, that this will be your first pass through that element. So of course you're not going to get it immediately, and there's going to be several more passes as you refine it. But that's kind of the process now that you've learned, like, what are the techniques that make Earth like as it is as a curriculum, and then like how do I move the way that someone who is, you know, confident like that is moving. What kind of dynamics are there, and then like what does it feel like, and what is it being or responding, or it's just like what is an Earth mentality or physical sort of response to things. So that's where you that's where you're at. It's like exploring like what that means to you, because it's all very individual.
Yeah.
I mean, there's those points that just make it what it is, but it's different. I would guess that it's different for you specifically than it is me in certain ways.
Yeah.
Just based on proclivities even alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and just kind of what you're just, I mean, and even before, like, I had no prior experience with martial arts or anything like that other than what I saw my dad did, other than what I saw my dad do as a kid. But yeah, so I never like had any, you know, I mean, you do like sports and stuff. I never had anything to be like, all right, now here's how to kind of like control the space around you. And it's hard, because I was thinking about this the other day, where it's like, are they teaching me confidence, or are they teaching me how to act confident?
What, sports?
No.
Like To-Shin Do?
Yeah. Because I don't, because it, like, those things are hard. Like, it's hard to teach someone confidence. It's hard to teach someone leadership. Those like intangible like qualities in people, you know, it's hard to do that. But maybe the reverse way to think about it might be, okay, well, if someone's coming into your space, here's how to respond while keeping your space. And maybe that in itself develops confidence over time.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it, honestly. It's one of those things that, like, confidence is, it's not like I can tell you to be confident and you'll just be confident. It's not like you're memorizing what the word like what the definition of the word is, confidence is something that is maybe more inherent to someone than someone else. Confidence is a skill that you have to work at. Confidence is related to the thing that you happen to be doing. So there's a couple ways that it could be conveyed. One of which is because the people the people in our club, instructors, and the people in our community are also actively working on what being confident is to them, and also means that they are displaying that confidence. So what that means for us and what that means for you is that we're seeing active examples, maybe not in like a real life fight or all physical altercation, but even in your regular sort of energetic interactions with people verbally, right? Even if you're out with someone getting lunch and you see someone who has been working on confidence as it relates to To-Shin Do, you see how they deal with a situation that you perceive is their confidence that they've cultivated in a To-Shin Do kind of in the dojo.
Yeah.
And so it's very what's the word? You learn by seeing, right? So you experience what that is from the people who have been doing it longer than you. So you get that kind of understanding of what that kind of confidence can look like, and then you work towards getting better at being confident at it because you have done something so many times, like an oak tree, that you don't have to think about it too hard anymore, because you know that even though I'm not too big or strong of a guy, like I can still put a good amount of force into a punch, as I have done.
Yeah. And
you don't have because you understand why an oak tree works, you can be confident that it will work, even if I put my scary, threatening attacker face on and throw a pretty, heated punch at you. That's what confidence is. And then you just take that from the micro level of one technique and start building it up into what it looks like for an entire situation, whether it's a physical interaction or not.
Yeah.
So confidence, building confidence. So to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Like I can't just tell you what confidence is, or I can't tell you, you should be confident, and then you just will be. I think that's just not how it is. Yeah. Like you have to, and I'm not even sure it's a decision. I guess it's a decision you make, but it's just, it's one of those things you have to work at it. You got to do it to get it. You got to do it to get it.
One of my favorite people that I followed, Dr. Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you've heard about him at all.
I haven't, actually.
He's a clinical psychologist from Canada. Great guy. He's more of like his practice is clinical psychology, but he's also like a philosopher and reads all kinds of different stuff, anywhere from like scientific.
He's actively active in the community now, or is he someone from the past?
No, he's pretty active now. He used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to teach at the University of Toronto. But so I know he's like in his 50s, something like that. But anyways, he reads anything from like scientific papers to like a psychoanalysis of the Bible. It's a huge broad range, but he once said that confidence is the acceptance of vulnerability. And like when you see a confident person walk up, they're not hunched over, they're not covering their soft parts of their belly.
Okay.
Their shoulders are back, their chest is out, and it's kind of like saying to the world, or saying to the people, and even in nature, the creatures around the other animals, where it's like, all right, come at me.
Right. Yeah. So that would be like
But
a body language interpretation of like how confidence can be.
yeah, but not in a cocky way.
No. You think about body language though, and that's like one of those indicators that especially in the way that dogs behave, that sort of behavior that they will lay down on the ground and then roll over onto their back to present their belly. So that's either, but that's the same action, but is that confidence for a dog, or is that
it?
Right? So what's the difference there?
I don't think it's. I think it's confidence,
right?
Because I don't think it's submission. Because it depends.
Right? So
okay. Well, here.
interesting to
So
think about.
actually, I'm going to answer your question with one of your own answers. It depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like when you go to see a dog, like I was just at my sister's apartment when I saw her golden retriever. When I went and saw him, he just rolled over, tail wagging, happy to see you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not submissive. That's more of I would say, rather than submissive, he's confident in the fact that he knows I'm not going to rip his stomach open as a predator.
So,
but then
is that is that trust?
Yeah.
Is that what trust is for a dog?
Yeah, that's what trust is for a dog, is wagging your tail and rolling over. And my cat does it too. My cat you can grab my cat's stomach all day long and he will not bite you. It's the weirdest thing. He doesn't even think about it. And it's just because he's comfortable. But then also I think whether, like, if let's say two wolves or two dogs are fighting for the spot of alpha or whatever, and the other one, it starts to submit, he's going to roll on his back, he's going to expose his belly. But he's definitely not thinking, oh, God, I'm so happy to see you. Not like a dog does when you walk through the door. It's like, oh, please don't kill me.
Right. This is interesting. And of course, this is all, I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there because I've never really like studied what this stuff could be. So, but like, so you think about the difference then is someone who walking down the street, or I don't know, say like you're downtown at night on a weekend, right? And maybe a person, maybe it's not beyond what is like a normal like amount of confidence, right? It's not someone being cocky or anything, but they're standing up straight. They have their chest out, and could just be good posture. Could be because they're trying to look tough, or because they really just like that is what their vision of confidence is. But then you think about like the Japanese culture, right? Especially like traditional, like why do they bow, right? Why, right? Because this is like, so with like, what is a bow? A bow is offering someone your neck, basically.
Yeah.
Because you're so so what is that? Like, is it because you're saying that you trust someone, or you're willing to do that because you're so confident that even if they were to try something that they still couldn't do it. So it's like, I'm offering you this much because I know you still can't do anything with it. Like, so there has to be some line there that is from like, oh, I'm gonna bow and hope, and I'm just gonna hope that you're not gonna do anything because really I don't have the skills that I need. Or that you're so confident that, cut me.
Yeah.
Can you? I know you can't. That's why I'm, that's why I'm allowing you to get so close to me like that.
And
so I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where like toasting or cheers came from too. Just to like, so people made sure like, all right, we have the same thing of wine here. I didn't poison yours, you didn't poison mine. So here we're gonna smash our glasses together. Kind of that same thing. Whether I don't know if that's really in confidence or not. That's just more trust, and also it might be
or mistrust.
Because
Because then they're like, actually, never mind. Don't drink that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who's seen The Emperor's New Groove knows what I'm talking about.
It's been a long time.
Got to get that Disney Plus, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of which, I just started watching The Mandalorian.
Oh, you just
No
started?
spoilers, of course. Yeah, let's see. I think, how many episodes were there? 6?
8.
8?
Yep.
I think my girlfriend Amy and I went through 3 or 4.
Okay.
So we watched a few because what I didn't want to do was just binge through all of it in one sitting and then be stuck like not watching it. So we watched a couple episodes a couple weeks ago, and it's just like we've been doing a couple episodes here and there. We actually didn't. Maybe something we'll watch tonight or tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty good.
It's good.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I can, and like I'm not someone who's super critical about like, oh well, I don't think it's good because this and that and like I'm more of like a neutral when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I can see, like, I'm a Star Wars fan, like I'm not like a super geek. Like I have like, you know, a decent amount of Star Wars knowledge. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not like, I don't know like all of it. But you know, I think I like it enough to keep watching it. So that's what I've been watching. From your reaction, it seems like you watched all of it.
Oh
so
yeah.
far.
Oh yeah. I watched all. I think I've seen it all twice.
Really? Nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So one of my
pretty good, though.
my manager, I think he's seen every episode 4 or 6 times, something like that.
That's too much. That's a lot, especially so early on. Like,
Yeah.
I get it if you end up watching something like that over several years. So it's like probably, if I were to equate a show that I've watched like over so many seasons that I've seen, you know, individual episodes multiple times. Probably the most recent would be Rick and Morty. But that's also because like over the span of the now 4 seasons, it's been how many years, right? So it's like over X amount of years.
Yeah.
I've just like, just because even if I watch one, you know, 2 episodes a month, you'd still end up watching every episode, you know, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like the last one would be Futurama, is especially when I was like right in college, I would just like, I wouldn't care about anything else. I would just like, oh yeah, I'll just throw this on and like half watch it. But I would end up watching every episode like multiple times. But again, that was over the course of several years.
Yeah.
It's like I've never really been the type of person to sit down and like something so much that I'm gonna watch it like 4 times in the same year that it comes out. Generally, I suppose I could have for some things, but
Yeah, there might be some TV shows where I did that maybe twice in 1 year. Probably, if I were to take a guess, I would say probably The Office.
yeah, that's one.
And maybe Psych.
I haven't watched The Office in a while, actually. Psych? I watched a little bit of that. I never got into it totally.
Okay.
No.
That one. So like I started watching it, and I came out when I was still in like middle school and high school. 2005, I think. I don't know. It was a while ago.
Yeah, when I watched it, it was already maybe a couple seasons old, and it was post high school, I think.
Yeah. And then when I went to college, one of my good friends, Marcus, he watched Psych too, so that's like one of the things that we bonded over. And then we would just watch Psych, like we just have Psych nights and watch
Psych
that
night.
stuff. Yeah, Psych night. Yeah, I've probably seen Psych every single episode. I think it's up to 9 times now.
How many seasons do they have?
7 or 8. I can't remember. I'll look it up.
8 seasons, I see.
8 seasons, yeah. And they're coming out with, they have done 2, they've done a musical, they've done a movie, and then they're coming out with another movie soon.
Wait, did you say musical?
Yeah, they did a musical. They're all super talented.
Wow.
They're awesome. And James Roday and James Roday and Dule Hill are like the two funniest like on screen like actors. Like they are hilarious together.
I mean, it has a good score on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I have watched episodes and liked it, but yeah, like you're saying, it came out in 2006. Final episode was 2014. So I mean, that's one of those shows that's like
that's 6 years ago, man.
Yeah, it ended 6 years ago, and it was 8 seasons.
Wow. But even still, that's a long time.
That's a decent run.
Yeah.
I'd say I think anything that gets a third season is doing well.
Yeah.
I would say a show that gets funded in the first place has to be good enough to at least warrant a second season, unless they really mess it up. Otherwise, generally, it won't get produced in the first place unless they think it'll make a solid first and probably second season.
Yeah, they're not going to invest in just one season and see how that one goes.
So you were saying you were watching Star Wars earlier. Were you watching a movie or?
Yeah, I was watching Revenge of the Sith.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you know what version you have?
I have the Disney Plus version.
The Disney Plus version.
I don't know.
I haven't looked into what version they have, but of course over the years there have been different releases.
Yeah.
And this version is the Blu-ray release. This one was remastered. This one has a bunch of stupid CGI added to it for no reason. But it's interesting, and I will I'll have to make a note of this so I have copies of the despecialized editions of the movies, which aren't official releases. They essentially were just people in the post-production community who have skills in post-production or who are employees and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like CGI and motion graphics and special effects and stuff like that. That basically a whole bunch of people got together and they scrapped together a whole bunch of original either like film canister copies of the movie. Wow. They got bits and pieces of the remastered versions, and they basically created a fan-made supercut of what is the like highest quality like mastering while staying as original to the theatrical release.
Okay, wow.
And it's a really good version.
Wow.
All three of the original movies. So those are the only versions I watch anymore. So it's so jarring if I see clips or versions that are from pretty much any of the modern versions that you can see now.
Yeah.
It's like, Jabba the Hutt is looking all crazy, and a lot of the background effects don't like seem right because they were clearly like redone, and who shot first. But if you remind me, I'll make a note to make sure that you can see those.
Yeah, definitely.
To definitely legal channels.
Yes.
But good copies, like definitely worth the watch. I think you would. The first time I saw them, I was like, wow, this is like you could tell like this is what the movie like was supposed to be.
Yeah.
More or less, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Real good copies though.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I know
I think they probably made newer iterations of it too. So, just like in software development, they have versions.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have done more work to update it. I just haven't kept up on it because the version I have, even from like 5 years ago, is still like, pretty good.
Nice.
But that'd be interesting to actually go in and look to see if any major updates to what they have gone in to another copy.
Yeah, because I know that like in one of the scenes from A New Hope, there's like a scene where there's like stormtroopers walking through a doorway, and then one of them hits his head on the top of the doorway, and then then there was one, like they did a re-release where they cut that part out, and then there was a re-release where they put that part back in because people thought it was funny or something. Yeah, so there's always like these like different changes that they're always making to these movies.
I think that there's debate about what actor that actually was too. Probably because in whoever it was actually that happened to, it was such an insignificant thing, because how many takes of that did they do? How many takes of other shots of them and 10 other people walking through a door did they make? So of course there might be 3 or 4 people, because how many stormtroopers ever worked on that movie? A lot.
Yeah.
So if they're like 4 or 5 people from 35, how many years ago? 35 years ago?
77, so...
Oh, it's more than that. From that long ago, it's like memory gets fuzzy. It's like, was it me who? Yeah, I think it was me. I was the actor who bumped his head on that. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe there were several actors who bumped their head going through that door, and they just don't know which take it was. And but apparently, it's not like very clear who it actually was who had that happen to him.
43 years. Sorry, it took me a while to do the math.
43?
43 years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And they hold up.
They do. Yeah, they do.
They hold up.
Some more than others, but
Yeah, I'd say the original hold up more than the prequels.
I'd say I would say the originals hold up more than the prequels, and the prequels hold up more than the sequels.
You think?
Yeah, I don't really care for the sequels.
Well, I mean.
Well, I don't really know if there's an actual.
You think of holding up, and you mean like I mean like as far as the newer series there's not been enough time, I don't think, to be able to gauge visually like how the movie how it holds up over time.
I mean,
you mean like visually, on like initial impression. I mean, of course too, like when the prequels came out, that was cutting edge of CGI, but you look at it now and you're like, oh man, it's garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even
so it's like looking ahead 10 years, what are these movies going to be like? I don't know what the reception is as far as like plot and stuff.
Yeah, but not even on like a visual basis. Like I would much rather sit down and watch the original trilogy rather than the sequel trilogy. I just don't get the story, and basically all of episode 9 was they just completely erased everything that happened from episode 1 to 6.
Yeah,
which I didn't care for because
have you followed it all, like the JJ cut sort of thing? It was trending on Twitter. It's like this whole thing because apparently Disney made the whole movie, like the most recent one, episode 9, just like such a hassle for Abrams, and it didn't turn out the way he wanted, like at all. And so there were a bunch of people that caught wind of this, and there's a really good post on Reddit that got like a lot of viewership, that were people who worked on the project to some degree, who it ended up being like an anonymous source, but it was like someone who was said to have been like not verified, but a reliable source, was saying like how much like shady stuff went on, that like Disney execs like made it so that they were like, yeah, you do your thing, you make the movie how you want, and then like went like directly around like behind him and like changed everything.
Yeah.
And so what we got ended up being not really what he wanted for us to get.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But maybe in time we'll get the proper cut, or maybe we never will.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm still hoping for a 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith, but you know.
I'll take anything. There's probably so much footage of, I mean, I know that for sure. There's so much footage of any one of those movies that won't ever see the light of day that could have made the movie entirely different. And who knows if they could have shot the movie twice for all we know.
Oh yeah.
And I think on this on episode 9, they ended up basically shooting a bunch of stuff twice because of certain stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or the differences in the way they had shot it the first time around, and then they're like, oh well, I mean, we changed these things there, so it's like we can't, now we got to reshoot that scene because right,
because and that just like piles on more reshoots and stuff, and a lot of movies do go through reshoots. I mean, it's just kind of like,
right,
just going back over your like what you actually have, and then be like, oh okay, maybe we can make this shot a little bit better. And then there's the other reshoots where it's like, we're going to take the movie in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just was stuff that was for, what's the word? Not consistency, like congruency. Is that the word?
Almost like contingency. I know exactly what word you're thinking of right now.
You know what I mean. But just to make sure everything lines up. Everything.
Continuity?
Oh, continuity.
Continuity. I can't even say it right.
Continuity.
Yeah,
continuity. That's exactly the word. Thank you. But yeah, so it's just like for continuity issues, just because of how many changes that were happening. But that'll be something interesting in the next couple years to see if there's ever, if anything ever comes of it.
Yeah, because I need the 4-hour release of that, and I need the 5-hour released uncut version of Avengers Endgame. That's what I need. I need that in my life, because honestly, for me, 3 hours was not enough. I need the whole 5 hours. I need an intermission. I need a bathroom break, and then let's get back into the action.
I was fine with what I got on that. I was very impartial viewer of those movies too.
Oh, okay.
Because how many movies were there in the whole like thing, the universe?
That was the 22nd movie.
Yeah, I maybe saw like 4 of them.
Okay.
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
I wasn't invested at all. I still went to go see. I liked it.
Yeah.
But I was not like, it wasn't ever a thing that, I better not hate this movie, or this movie better be good because I put 100 hours into watching everying else. And
you're basically just describing me here,
right? It's just like I never got involved enough to have
I'll tell you what, the
strong opinion.
The Thursday night of the premiere, it was me, my sister, and her boyfriend, and we went out to eat before the movie, and we went to one of my favorite restaurants at Disney Springs, the Polite Pig. And I love that place so much, and I was so nervous.
The Polite Pig.
The Polite Pig.
Okay.
It's like barbecue.
I have not been there.
It's so good.
So I like barbecue though. Anyway.
But anyway, so I got like a prime rib thing or whatever, and I love my steak, and
yeah, especially given your diet.
Yeah. But so I was so nervous for the movie, I could not eat.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And let me tell you, like when I was watching the movie, it was like my team was, I was at the Super Bowl and my team was playing. I was up out of my seat. I was cheering. I was crying. I had every emotion that man can experience in that movie. And like, there's literally probably nothing else on earth that gives me that much of an emotional reaction anymore. Speaking
of the Super Bowl,
oh yeah, it's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Super Bowl is tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and imagine that this won't be released until afterwards. Are you a sports guy at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You are?
More big. I like football in order. Football, hockey.
Okay.
And if I can, I try and keep up with Formula One, but that's hard to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's one of those ones that you don't hear too much.
No.
College or pro?
Pro first for football and then college. So I would say my favorite pro team, Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Favorite college, Florida Gators.
Okay, all right. I'll let you slide.
I ever since moving down here, and my sister's boyfriend Brian, he went to UF, and it's intoxicating watching, not like going into it with no expectations and watching any game with someone who's a diehard fan of a team is going to make you like cheer for that team, just like. Because it's just the energy in the room, and you can't help but cheer for them. You know, it's kind of the collective. I remember like the first Gators game I saw was like their first home opener this past season, and Brian had like all of his like 4 college roommates, you know, and we were all watching the game. They're all cheering for the Gators, and so you just naturally cheer for the Gators, you know. But then there's other times where, so I went to where we were at some bar for the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs and the Titans, and everyone there. It was like some like Facebook, like Orlando Chiefs fan like Facebook group got together and like made a reservation at this bar. So there's probably like 50 Chiefs fans there. Okay, but then I was like, cool. You know what? I want to cheer for the Titans now.
Yeah,
and I did.
That's just asking for trouble.
Well, they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine because they won.
Yeah, well, that helps.
Yeah. So.
Do you have a team for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going with the Niners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Chiefs, Niners. I'm honestly not a huge sports guy. I'll sit down and watch a game. I get it. Like I know I played sports through school. I enjoyed playing them. Like I understand. I just don't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much other stuff to keep up with.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's, you know, however unifying, you know, sports talk is among. Well, I was gonna say other men, but even like my girlfriend, you know, knows more about sports than I do. As far as like who's doing well and like having a favorite team and like what players are on or off or you know disabled on the DL or whatever. So it's like I don't have a team for tomorrow, but I'll still watch it and like enjoy it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the reason I want the 49ers to win is because they beat the Vikings in the playoffs, and so I want the Vikings to have lost to a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah, that makes it a little okay.
And
yeah,
so
I can say
basically,
see how that takes the bite off.
All of my
Some people would go the opposite route though, and say they want them to lose terribly.
Because we deserve. Honestly, I love the Vikings, but we deserve to lose that game. We were not as good as the 49ers, and the 49ers are a great team, and I think. I mean, I thank God that that the 49ers killed the Packers because
Don't tell that to my girlfriend.
Oh, is she a Packers fan?
Yeah, she's from Wisconsin, so is my roommate. So yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, we were watching that game. We shut it off early because boy, it was real bad. Real bad game.
That whole game. Oh, that was great. That was a good game. That was a good game to watch. If you guys are listening, I apologize, but you guys deserve it.
So yeah, I'm doing that tomorrow. Do you have any plans? You going to any parties or just staying here chilling? Or?
I'll go to my sister's apartment. Basically, any football game now is usually going to my sister's apartment, just having some wings.
Okay.
But now it's so nice because I don't go out anymore. I don't go to bars anymore because I'm not drinking. I'm not eating all this crap, you know. So it's nice. So we'll just make chicken wings, and I'll just have plain chicken wings tomorrow with some salt on them. That's it.
Really? No sauce or anything?
Nope, no sauce.
Just plain salt?
Yep.
Man, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So like salt, that's the only like seasoning or flavor you're doing?
That's the only seasoning, flavor, or anything.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What about like pepper?
Uh-uh.
Really?
No
Why not pepper?
Well, because pepper is a vegetable or a fruit, however you want to define one of those
corn?
things.
A peppercorn. It's still from a plant.
It's from a plant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, it's not
because salt is
It's
a rock.
not a mineral. Yeah. Yeah. So you can eat rocks.
Oh my god.
I know it makes no sense. And people ask,
wait, but like, why? This isn't like. I'm not sure how it would affect dietary things, but it surely can't be like based on principle. Like, I'm not going to eat peppercorn because it's a plant.
oh no,
Like, what's the-
I
what's,
just
like-
basically it's just a huge elimination diet.
Right.
So and
But
it's
is it an elimination diet just for the sake of being an elimination diet?
what do you mean?
Maybe?
What do you mean by that? Because yeah,
Like, so
I'm
what do you call it? The lion's diet.
yeah.
But is it called that? But I don't know. I just like I've never heard of it. I don't understand.
Okay.
It. Like, but like I don't understand
Yeah.
why pepper. Like why you can't have pepper.
I don't know. I just don't. Here's my reason why I don't is because the person who started the lion diet said that she doesn't eat pepper. So I was like, all right, I guess I won't eat pepper either.
Pepper offends me.
I mean, I wish I could. I'd give anything to have some like real buffalo wings tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like, can you have spice? No, because spice is
No.
plant.
Yeah.
What if an animal eats a bunch of pepper?
Well, I don't think that. Well, see, but I don't think that they would though, because the reason that peppers are hot isn't to make the plants tasty to animals. It's to
So they
deter
won't-
it.
Yeah, so they won't eat it.
And so I mean, there's kind of that to go along with it. Not that I have anything against peppers. I freaking love spicy food. I love my salsa and I love my chipotle, but you know, and also what I've learned, I'm gonna keep this rated G. Spicy going in is spicy going out, especially with chipotle.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Man, I can't I don't know. I like flavor a lot. I like meat too, but I don't think I could just do plain meat and salt only. That seems like a lot. Although it seems like it'd be easy to cook for.
It's so easy. It's very easy, and I hardly spend any money going out, even to restaurants, even because I just don't.
But are you you're still preparing the meat with vegetable oil and stuff right? Or is it
No,
just
no,
what
actually,
about, is it like butter?
No, I put it in my air fryer back there. That
Really?
silver thing on my count. Yeah, it's my air fryer. So you just put a steak in there, and it just air fries it. And don't ask me how an air fryer works. All I know is that the air gets super hot and makes the meat nice, and it's super juicy.
Well, I don't know.
It's
how
super.
It works either,
I mean,
That's cool.
I
What
can
about,
show you some of the pictures
do
of
you,
the steaks that I make from it. It's insane.
but yeah, I'll look at some pictures. How about next time you just make me one?
Okay,
That'd probably
yeah,
be
we can
better.
do that. Yeah, we can do
What
it.
you don't like? What about you don't oven roast a chicken or anything?
Yeah, I do a little bit of that. I do put like beef ribs in the oven.
Okay, all right. Slow cook them.
Yep.
I mean, you can only
Yeah, I do.
not like barbecue slow cook.
No, but I mean the same.
still low and
physic-
slow it.
Yeah. And then I made. I'll show you my bone broth in my fridge. I made bone broth.
Nice.
So just putting
No vegetables in it though, right?
Nope, no
Okay,
vegetables,
good.
just bones. Yeah,
Yeah, get those
Which
vegetables
okay,
out of here.
so this is gonna be part of one of my segments that I was talking to you about. Is
I'm just egging you on.
no. This is gonna be one of the things where it's what I really hate is when you go to a store and you buy something called bone broth. So you think it's gonna be bone or broth that's from bones.
Yeah.
And then you go and you look at all this other crap that they put in it, like all these vegetables and and then they put like honey in it and then they put like this tea stuff in it. I'm like, I just want bone broth. Like how is it so hard to buy bone broth that's just bone broth?
Well,
So
it's
that's
because
why
they can't charge. They can't charge the amount of money they are
Exactly.
for it.
'Cause-
It's that perceived value, even whether it actually costs that much or
Yeah,
not.
because I mean, I bought like 24 marrow bones for $7, and you just put I mean, I ate the bone marrow out of it. I don't know if you can make bone broth with the marrow still in it. But anyways, I ate the marrow out of it, and then I just put it in the crock pot, put some water in it, put some salt in it, let it cook for 24 hours, and I'll show you how much I made from it. And it's insane, and it tastes amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just like.
And it would cost me $7.
Meat flavored.
Yeah.
Meat flavored water.
I know. That's perfect. Well, and then that's also good because, you know, that instead of having like chicken noodle soup, if I ever get sick or something like that, then I can just throw in some bone broth, and then that'll.
Right.
That's something
I mean, that's why I like pho so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a good bowl of that broth. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. But I mean, they also have like noodles and vegetables and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're just eating like whole pieces of meat with salt, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
for
it.
how long is this going? Do you have a plan for?
I'm doing this the whole 2020. Yeah.
Oh my god. Have you talked to a nutritionist about this?
No, because they will tell me to not do it. And, I would get very heated with them, and I would say that no one can convince me that eating carbohydrates is a good thing. I have yet to meet someone who can convince me of that.
Right, and of course I'm not. I don't really do. I'm not super knowledgeable about like eating healthy or because I know again it's one of those things like how does your body process this opposed to how does someone else's body deal with the kind of food they're eating.
Yeah.
And as far as I can see, it's all hugely variable, and the amount of activity I get in my life as it is now, like I'm not like a gym rat. I don't go and like I don't get a lot of cardio or I'm not a like power lifter. But I still train and I still am physically active, and thankfully my metabolism is good. And so what I found is that portion control has more of an effect on my weight than anything else. And more or less I can eat whatever I want just as long as I just don't keep eating a whole bunch of it. And so far, and now I'm 30, that's been okay. And my weight will fluctuate between right now I'm 145, which is like the lower side of my weight. So I've been pretty good to keep it on like the low side of. I don't want to go. I could go lower than that. I just like I wouldn't feel comfortable being too much thinner than that. And then it'll fluctuate up to like 165 is where I've been like when I was lifting a lot, and I did have a lot of that. For my size, I would say arguably too much bulk. And then at other times it was just like I just was eating too much. But now I'm at a good point to where like I'm not super muscly or like super defined, but I still have some fat on my body, but not in a way that like I still feel healthy.
You're not obese by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean not at all. I think for my height and body type, I'm like right in that. I'm like right in that sweet spot of like what my weight should be, and of course that's again it's like
with your BMI,
right? And there's a million different ways to decide. Like, oh well, is that just like a huge oversimplification of like what's healthy for you? Yes, but I don't know. I feel healthy. I feel healthy. I think I look fine. So that what that means for me is that I'm not too concerned about any kind of a diet because monitoring, I'll get home from training because it takes me so long to get home. I won't get home until 11:30, and man, I'll be like, oh man, I'm hungry. Now after training, I'm hungry. Well, I probably shouldn't eat. It's late now. So sometimes I'll have a little snack and I probably shouldn't. And then other times I'll just know I'll just wait and I'll have some good breakfast in the morning. And so like I guess you can say like I'm mindful of it's not it's not like it's what do you call it? It's not like simulated fasting. No, it's a where you only
Intermittent?
Yeah, intermittent fasting. So it's like I'm not like setting a block of time that like, oh, I will only eat lunch starting at 11, and I will only eat from 11 in the morning until 6 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
I don't do that like purposely, but a lot of the times like I'll say, oh, it's just too late. I just won't eat now. And then in the morning, I'll get up and I will either eat, something light or not until closer to lunch anyway, which ends up kind of being intermittent fasting. But it's not like that's not strict for me. And like I was saying, it's like a little bit of that and just being aware of like not eating too early until my body is like woken up and like fully like running, and then not eating too late once like I know that I need to be sleeping and I can't be processing food because I need to be sleeping. That and portions, but other than that, like I'll still eat, whatever. I'll eat whatever. Pretty much. I have been a little more health conscious, so like I'm not drinking whole milk. Like I've been drinking almond milk and oat milk and
oat milk.
Yeah, oat milk. Just tried oat milk for the first time a couple weeks ago. Actually, it's not bad. Huh. Kind of strong, but if you're having it with oatmeal,
oaty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you're having it with oatmeal, or if you're having it with cereal in the morning, and that's typically like I mean, really, that's the only time I would have milk anyway. Generally, is like for breakfast. Like, that's about, that's fine.
Yeah, even as a kid, I could never drink milk unless if there was like it was like 50-50 chocolate syrup, and then the rest was milk.
Yeah, I like it, but now like my little sister is vegan, and so I just like, I don't know. I guess I've picked up some good habits from her. So I'm not. I think I was telling you about this the other day. Yeah. It's like the Megan diet.
Oh yeah.
Which I wouldn't even say that I'm on a Megan diet either. But the Megan diet is mostly vegan, in that I don't have any kind of like justice cause for animal cruelty. Like like I get it. I know like broadly what the stigmas are around, like what the issues are. But and like as far as like health related stuff, I really just like I would be like mostly vegan is like, okay, well, I don't need to, first of all, this diet would be for me. So it's me again.
Yeah.
So also, like, what does it matter? I don't care why you're vegan or what you think about it. Like, if I would be vegan, it would be I'm living or vegan up to this point because I feel like, okay, well, if on Friday I want a steak, I'll have a steak. At any rate, if I swung towards the vegan side of things, that's probably where I would live I'm never going to eat anything animal product related ever again. No, if anything, it would be more like, okay, well, like I get it. Like if maybe one meal a week I'll try to be like vegan Monday or something like that. Just even out of like just to kind of like contribute to that shift of that we don't always need. We don't need as much mass consumption of meat, which I'm not like, again, it's like, I get it. I love meat, but I mean, you think about how the sustainability of the way that food processes go. And if everyone in the world chose one day to be vegan, like that's surely got to make some kind of an effect.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one of those effects that on the kind of companies that rely on people buying meat are not going to like, of course. But
well, I mean, if all 6 billion people on Earth get on a little schedule and say, all right, we're going to go vegan starting on Monday, I'm going to be at the grocery store because the steaks are going to be like 50 cents.
Yeah, I would have to get rid of them.
Yeah. All right, let's go. I'll put them in my freezer.
World's biggest freezer.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, then we would have like way too many cows though.
Yeah. Well, I'll take them. I'll take them off your guys' hands for you.
So.
But yeah.
But so it's like, what did you just do research? And this one sounded interesting because I had never heard of this lion's diet. Like I've heard of like the caveman diet and like other stuff like it.
Yeah. So I was on the ketogenic diet, 2020, probably on and off for 3 years. And then at the end of 2019, more off than on, I would say.
Okay.
And then I was like, you know what? I want to do something where I can actually because when I did keto, I could actually see the changes. And then when I was doing keto, I would end up being like, okay, I can have meat and cheese and dairy. And then I was like, all right, well, what if I cut out milk?
Right.
And like not even all dairy, but just like, what if I cut out milk? And then I started doing that. And then I was like, I don't know if it's hard because you feel a little bit incrementally better, but then kind of like as we were talking about before, when you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better compared to 3 years ago.
Right.
So it's hard to tell, but I would just slowly start cutting things out, and then the end of 2019 came along, and then I don't know what it was about it, but I'd heard about this lion diet, and I'm really trying to remember what I think I just like saw it on Facebook, or like I'd been reading about it, and then all of a sudden, like one day I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for a year.
Are you sure it's not just a meme like vaporwave?
It's
like the vaporwave of diets.
I don't know because I don't know
like
if I've seen
a meme of a diet.
I don't know if I've seen any memes of it catch on though. I've seen vapor memes catch on.
Yeah.
But
that's a whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. But so I think it was also part of, I would have naturally, well, okay, this might be a weird word to use. I would have naturally, in my own circumstance, been eliminating things down to that point anyways. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just do it then. And then it was also good because I know I wanted to stop drinking. And then this is a good way, because I tried to stop drinking before, but I was just having like whatever diet I wanted. Well, mainly keto, but then you'd go to McDonald's once a month or something like that. But,
but so it was like.
But so then like with this, it was like, all right, so I'm only putting 3 things into my body: meat, salt, water. That's it.
Yeah.
And anything that doesn't meet that checklist.
Okay, I see what you did there.
Thank you for getting that.
Okay.
But yeah, and anything that isn't on that checklist, I'm not purchasing it. And that's another thing. I'm not spending money on it.
Right.
I'm not putting it in my body. And then that's how I think about it. And a lot of people ask me like if it's hard to do, and I say, well, no, because I have that checklist, and if I run through it, I don't spend money on it, and I don't put it on my fork, or I don't put my straw in the cup to sip on it.
Right. So have you? And then I would imagine then you've looked at like articles describing how people who have gone a year on it have had success.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you also seen articles where people have gone on this diet and not seen success?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
But that also could be for one of 2 reasons. One, because everyone who goes on this diet has success, or 2,
I think that's not as likely.
Exactly. Or 2, the pages that I'm on Facebook or social media, they're not going to promote that anyways.
Are all supporting that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like, do you know like what are some yellow or red flags for you that not that it would like not be good for you in a sense of like gaining weight or something, but like what are some indicators that will be good? Because you have to have some kind of monitoring system. Like at some point, you're not just doing it for a year just for the sake of it, right? And also, like you're not doing it to the point that you're completely oblivious of the results, obviously. So it's like, what at what point do you have these triggers in place that are gonna go off if you start? It's like, do you have any like variables defined that way? So it's like if you start feeling a certain way or looking or stuff like
Yeah,
that. Do you have
definitely.
any kind of things to look out for?
One thing I don't want to do is lose muscle.
Right.
Because I don't want my body eating itself for that reason.
Yes.
Which that I'm gonna knock on wood.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully that's not a problem because of all the large amounts of protein I'm consuming.
Right. Yes. Yes. You're absorbing the power of others.
Exactly. Their life force is in me
Yeah.
now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
Yeah. But so, I mean, and obviously I'm not like a biochemist or anything like that. I'm not a nutritionist. Although I do try and do as much reading as I can about it.
Right. Cool.
Another thing that I'm going to try and keep it rated G.
Uh-huh.
When I went on this diet,
Yeah.
I wasn't going number 2.
Okay.
And so I did some research into that.
Right.
And so there was this trial that they did where they would feed, because rats will eat freaking anything.
Uh-huh.
And so they wanted to figure out if like what effect like protein has on colon cancer.
Okay.
And so they used rats because, why wouldn't you use rats?
This is a very vegan, unfriendly podcast.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Animal testing.
Yeah.
Meat only.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Of course, I don't care.
But yeah, so they had like two groups. One was rats would eat whatever, just
Dude,
regular
they feed them
rat
cake?
food. No, I mean just regular like rat food, little like
regular
pellets,
rat pellets.
Yeah, that
Okay.
thing. And then the other ones was they would just give them like I
Cake.
forget.
I don't know why. I just I think it's fascinating that rats would. I think I would just want to see a rat eat some cake.
I would think that'd be kind of cute actually. Put a little birthday hat on him.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
those mini food things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go ahead. I'm just going off the rails a little.
But no, not cake. Meat. So it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, meat.
like
Okay,
whatever,
gotcha.
and then they would eat meat. And then so basically the rat group that was eating whatever, they were passing stools, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
on the regular, and the other group wasn't.
Okay.
And so then when they did,
Well, do rats usually eat? I mean, like I don't know typically what wild rats eat.
whatever.
Really?
Oh.
What's that?
Well, they're
Wait,
scavengers.
omnivore?
Yeah, they're
So they eat
scavengers.
whatever?
They're rodents, so they'll eat whatever.
Well, I know they're
Yeah.
rodents.
Well, I mean, like it's in. I guess squirrels are too, but they don't eat everything. But
yeah, you think about
they're
like,
more
what,
scavengers.
There's carnivore,
omnivores.
herbivore, and then
Oh yeah,
omnivore
Yeah.
is eat plants and animals.
yeah,
Right.
Oh yeah, rats will munch on a dead corpse of anything.
Yeah, I guess
But,
that makes sense.
But yeah,
So it's not like their bodies aren't equipped
No,
to eat to not eat meat.
correct. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So it's interesting though
Yeah.
that those are the results.
Yeah, but so basically the rats who were eating meat weren't really passing any stools. So then, sorry again for the vegans, they did a further analysis and they found out that all of the meat was getting, or all the nutrients from the meat was getting absorbed in the small intestine.
Yeah.
Nothing was making it to the small intestine or to large intestine, and nothing was making it to the colon.
Okay.
So there was actually nothing. It was all absorbed within the small intestine, all the nutrients and everything.
Okay.
It's like 100%. Well, I don't know if it was 100%, but like 98, whatever. I don't remember the numbers.
Right.
But it was close to 100%.
significant amount.
A significant amount of the meat was getting absorbed in the small intestine,
Okay.
and never had to, and they never had any
Waste.
any colon problems, any polyps or anything that would
Gotcha.
be the like starting point of colon cancer. Whereas with the other rats, when they were fed, like the thing about like taking fiber, make sure that things pass. So,
Yeah.
so this is just my theory. This is my own, based off of what I read and heard from this study.
Okay.
Is that my theory is that fiber acts as a little like, like those little speed things in Mario Kart.
Speed bump? What speed
No,
thing? Oh, like
no.
the
Speed
the
boost or whatever. Yeah. Like when you're in Mario Kart and you run over the thing with the
Yeah,
arrows over it and it makes you go faster.
Right.
That's what
Yeah, the boost-
so that
boost
would be
pads.
that's how I think of fiber, is that it like kind of shoots it through your small intestine, so it's artificially making it to your large intestine, so that it's
Gotcha.
artificially going to your colon. And so that's another thing, is that, and I know that that's a lot, that is a big thing, and to look out for. And it's more long term too. than it is short term. You're not going to develop those symptoms within a month of changing your diet. It's going to be a lot long. You know, it pops up in people who are older. You know, that's why they don't start colonoscopies until you're older.
Right. Are you like, I mean, I guess nutritionally, are you getting everything else you need just from meat?
So here's
and
my
salt?
so here's my other theory.
Yeah.
Is that so? For example, the only reason you need vitamin C is if you're ingesting carbohydrates.
Okay.
Because so whatever vitamin C you may do for you, you need that vitamin C because of what I forget, it's in one of my books over there. Okay. It's called the Ketogenic Bible, and it's taking and it talks about how you take vitamin C to replace the things that was taken away from you by the consumption and the ingestion of carbohydrates, or not the ingestion, but the whatever happens in your stomach.
Digestion?
Yes, digestion. Thank you. So I guess it's probably not ingestion, but yeah. So stuff like that. So also like there's also these things. I'm trying to explain this. It's also in the same book. There's basically when people get like sunburnt, you know, over a lot of period of time, they can develop melanoma, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So people who are on a high protein to carbohydrate ratio diet, they'll get burnt like by the sun, like if they're just out in the sun, but they will almost never develop melanoma. Whether with people with the inverse of high carbohydrate to low protein ratio diets will almost always develop melanoma if they're burned.
Weird.
Another interesting thing I did research on this for one of my health economics classes in college is they did a study, and they were it was about like prenatal nutrition. Mm-hmm. And so basically they took mothers that were pregnant, and one group was on a high protein to low carb ratio diet. The other one was on the inverse, so high carb to low protein. Yeah. The babies that were born under the high carb to low protein ratio diet ended up having a higher average blood pressure than the babies born when they were in the womb with the mothers that were doing the high protein to high carbohydrate ratio.
Okay.
So on average, the babies that were already getting the carbohydrates or more carbohydrates when they were in the womb, they would have a higher average blood pressure than the babies that were not.
Gotcha. Okay, so it sounds like you've done some research.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing research research as in, I'm not writing scientific journals.
I mean, research as in like you're not just taking the word of forum posts at face value. You're actually like going out to try to understand.
This is the other.
But so to answer my question, do you have any like indicators of like a reason to stop if you feel weak or if you like are getting lightheaded or
let me answer your question, because
like what would that look like?
Possibly? Actually, this is the reason why I told you the story about the rats. Is because I thought like when I went on it, I was like, fuck, like I'm not going number 2.
Yes.
Like that's bad. That's got to be bad. Mm-hmm. And then I did the research about it. I was like, okay, it actually kind of makes sense after I read that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I think without the things that I don't want to have happen, like, so if that happens to me where the food's getting ingested or, digested in my small intestine, that's fine. But yeah, low energy, I don't want to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's bad.
Lack of focus, which might be related to low energy.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Any sort of like breakouts or skin conditions that come from it, definitely don't want those. Yep. Any joint issues, don't want to have that.
Be aware of like nervous system, like aches, pains, how your body operates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any like if there's any It for me that's hard because sometimes I'll just sleep wrong.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No,
And you
it's
just-
especially as you get older. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm only 30, but I can tell like if I have, I'm starting to get some aches and pains that get exacerbated by sleeping wrong, or like but they're more or less like I can tell that's just gonna be a thing
Yeah.
from now from now on.
Also heartburn.
But yeah.
Heartburn I don't want to have happen. I don't really know. I also don't know what it is, but it hasn't happened yet, which I thought that it would have with being on such a high fat, high protein diet. I definitely thought that, and high salt too. I definitely thought that having heartburn or having that feeling of heartburn, whatever it actually is, I thought that that would have happened, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, good. I mean,
yeah.
at least you're aware of possible things that if you start noticing happen, that those could be things that
Yeah.
you would be able to determine if it's something that you need to maybe start eating
To stop
something.
doing.
Yeah, to eat
Yeah.
vegetables again or
Yeah,
something.
definitely. And I would
Good.
be.
Yeah, but I mean, you still seem alive to me.
Yeah.
So
I hope so.
have you talked to Greg about any of it other than just like the salt, or
Not in depth like this. I want
Yeah.
to talk to him about it.
that would
'cause
be probably be good to have him
Yeah.
on and go back over this, like, but because he's I don't
he knows his shit.
because he's more of an expert.
Yeah.
Certainly more of an expert than I am. I just wanted to understand, like, why only meat?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah, but it's and then another thing is, and why I like to tell people about it and post it, whatever, is just because, trust me, I don't expect one other person on planet Earth to do this, because it sounds crazy enough as it is, and I'm slightly insane. So I
mean,
have
any
the,
diet sounds crazy to some people.
Yeah. So, but I have the will, and I want to do it, and I want to try it, and then I get to share my story about doing it, so
Do you
that
have
other people.
Do you have the power?
I have done it for 32 days, so I think I'm pretty good. Plus, I absolutely love steak. I love it with all my heart and soul.
I have the power. Okay, that's what I was going for.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Yes, He-Man.
Well, good. I mean, yes. Yeah, 1 month in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Yep.
you're not looking emaciated, so.
No, I am. No, and I just posted a picture on the gram and Facebook.
Oh dang, you looking buff? I tend not to take pictures like that because I more or less.
Because you don't want to.
Well, no, I mean, I no, yeah, because I don't want to brag. Because I more or less am not making any changes that like warrant like a before or after.
Yeah.
Like I'm
You're just
good with where
keeping
my
it
weight
real.
is.
Yeah.
Like I'm good with like my physical like look.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there were some kind of like minor changes, I think it would be not enough that it would be like anything that people would like care to like look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not saying like, oh, I don't post pictures of myself like that because I don't want to be like one of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Like, because that's fine. Like if you like,
If you
it's
do
like
it,
yeah, when I see your pictures, I'm like, all right, good, like good
Yeah.
for you. Like I don't think of it any other kind of way. I just don't, because like I know I could flex and look pretty good, but like I could flex like a year from now and I'd probably look about the same. Like
Yeah, and that's why I'm doing like the monthly updates too, because
Right.
I mean,
see, I might take pictures and just
Yeah.
like not share them.
Yeah.
But that's
Oh,
just so
yeah.
10 years from now I can be like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I
still
mean,
look more or less the
yeah,
same.
that's what my dad's probably lost almost 100 pounds doing
Nice.
keto, and now he's doing his makeshift version of the lion diet, but he still likes his wine and his whiskey. So
More like a wine diet.
oh,
Hey-o.
maybe that's what I'll go back to after I turn 25.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, and honestly, I do think probably one of the biggest things about it is not drinking. That's probably the biggest boost.
Right. So was that like an addition that you added onto it, or that's just the fact that it is only 3 things? And that just
well, when she said meat, water, and salt, I took it literally.
yeah.
And because I know,
I wonder if beyond, like, behind closed doors, she's like drinking all the drinks.
She might be, but that's not what she says. And I know behind my own doors, I mean,
I wonder if
I don't know.
can you ferment blood? Have some blood wine?
Yeah, I probably have to
Does
put
that count?
yeast in it though, so that gives you the, you know,
You could probably ferment blood.
just put it in a jar for like, or put it in a barrel for like 10 years or something.
You're getting drunk on blood.
Oh God,
Dude, you're gonna be a vampire. You're gonna be a drunk vampire.
that's so unhealthy to drink blood.
Just as long as you don't come into To-Shin Do wearing a cape.
All right, on Monday.
Unless
I'm
it's
gonna get a
Halloween,
cape.
then it's okay.
We got a cape.
How are we looking on time?
Time?
What are we looking at? I'm starting to get hungry.
Okay.
We were talking about all these lions.
Time, we're at about hour 25, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
doing good. Yeah, we can wrap it up soon.
I'm cool going for a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I will want to eat soon. Plus,
Yeah.
I don't want to make this so that no one watches it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
obviously, they're still listening because you and I are both very, very engaging,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, in people's daily commute, they want to listen to the soothing, soft sounds.
You do have quite the
of
soothing voice.
our radio personality voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I definitely, like, I haven't I haven't gotten into it too much, but boy, oh boy, I can really give you a nice radio voice. I've been behind cameras and microphones for many years, and boy, I know how to make a nice, soft, sounding nice, sweet, good tone. Make it sound real good in some high-quality speakers. Great listening, good high audio quality.
It's like we just
It's
stepped
like
on the set of
ASMR
like
style videos.
NPR.
Like NPR, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like, but that's definitely a broadcasting skill, and
That is, yeah.
you have beyond just like this personality thing,
Mm-hmm.
like. You talk a certain way to make yourself sound a certain way while you're speaking into a microphone,
Mm-hmm.
like with these pop filters, but you also have to really make sure that each syllable is able to be heard, and that people, even with low volume or with terrible, bad speakers, can be able
Mm-hmm.
to really get everything that you are saying.
Yep.
And that's
I need to work on my
that's an
radio voice, yeah.
exaggeration. But you could all tie it back into. You could equate that back to To-Shin Do. We'll bring it back around.
Yeah, there we go.
So when you're first practicing something, you do it exaggerate in an exaggerated way, because that's just the easiest way that it makes sense, and also the easiest way to start doing something
Yeah.
is really exaggerated. So if I'm wanting to be a really smooth talking radio personality or podcaster, I'm gonna get super into this personality where my voice is really smooth and soft and super dynamic, and but that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much. So as you start, and that's like, first learning these skills is like you see someone else doing that, and then you do it, but it's like 10 times like no, it's like you're doing it, but like
Yeah.
that's too much. It's like there can be a little more subtlety in how, and this is how you express yourself, like how you express your voice. But you do that, we use our we use certain words, and we express things in a certain way, from different parts of our, using diaphragmatic breathing or certain mouth or throat or lung origins, to produce certain sounds for certain reasons. So it's whether it's for like a self-defense situation, or if it's just to create some kind of a result, or to handle a certain situation, or but so like you use your voice in a way that you can go way overboard with, just like you can go way overboard with a technique that you end up trying to do something to someone instead of just letting it be what it is really. but you kind of have to go through that first process. So it's like when you're first trying to make sure that you sound good on a microphone, you have to experiment. You have to sound bad because maybe you're talking way too loud, or or it's, this is obviously way too overdone. But when you see high school students doing broadcast for the first time, they all sound like this, right? Because that's the way, that's like like not stereotype, but
caricature.
It is that's like the character, right? So, but it's just a natural progress. And again, it's like I have done more To-Shin Do than I have broadcasting or stuff. But
me too.
I've done a fair amount. I mean, my degree is in digital media. Like I have a lot of experience with electronic equipment and audio and video and lighting and sound. I've been making content which involves understanding how things sound good and hearing my voice back and understanding what I need to do with my voice to make it sound good. And as it relates to To-Shin Do, how I can use my voice in conjunction with my physical movements to allow my body to express itself in the way that is the most effective without doing more than I have to. So what results is me having like this nice voice that you wouldn't necessarily, I may not, of course I would still work on it, but it's, you may not be the first person to say, oh man, his voice is like super great on, it sounds really great. He should be a radio personality. But you're also not like, oh wow, why does he sound like that? It's definitely a practice skill, and you this is funny. So that Anshu Stephen Hayes it was a theater guy, right?
Yeah.
So he knows how to use his voice. And you listen to the way he talks, and he is very mindful of the way he uses his voice. And so I find that interesting, knowing kind of a little bit into the world of how you can create cadence and pause for effect and stress certain syllables and dynamics. I mean, even knowing music, you understand that if you want something to trail off in a certain way, it creates a certain dynamic, right? So it's like you trail off and then you come back in sharp. And it's like, so there are certain dynamics of that kind of stuff. You have a certain range of high to low. So a couple times, I'm comfortable talking up here in this range, but then, other times I'm a little more comfortable talking down this lower register. And so it's like all those things are skills, and they can become more subtle over time, which is stuff that I like practicing. Just like I like practicing To-Shin Do.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be someone who's super obvious about that kind of stuff. And sometimes I still am, because of course I have a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's even something that you can recognize, what the difference is between the stuff you're doing and seeing and the stuff that, we've been talking about Greg, like the stuff Greg is doing and seeing, and then like me, and then like Master Bragg.
Yeah.
That like a lot of stuff is similar, but you may notice that I'm doing something still, and not even like know that Master Bragg is doing the same thing because you don't see that he's doing it.
Yeah.
But I know I may not be able to do it, but I know that he's doing it.
Yeah.
Like 10 times more than I'm doing it at 1% of the amount of effort that I'm doing it at. Of course, I know that because I put myself out there to be someone who receives the lesson, as we've been talking about, not on the podcast as much, but like being the guy who feels what it is that he's doing. because it's hard to see when you get so good. It's so subtle that it's hard to see what's really happening without being there to feel it.
Yeah.
And that's beyond even physically what you can feel.
And that's why I like it, like when he does those things, and then you come over to me and be like, oh, that's the, like just the other night, like, oh, he's passing through Hochi right there. I forgot what he was doing. Hicho, sorry,
right?
Not Hochi.
Yeah,
Hicho,
yeah, yeah. But it's just it's like, if you were to look in a book and look at a picture of someone and say, okay, well, this is Hicho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a freeze frame of what Hicho is. Like that's an example of what Hicho looks like in this representation. But there's a lot of context missing from a single frame. There was a transition to that point. There's a transition after that point. You think about the difference in what was practical from a traditional standpoint and what is practical nowadays. And so, Ichimonji is a good example of this water kamae. You see some people traditionally will get very low, very weight back, like, super kind of stilted, because in the picture, especially in pictures back then, like, we were talking earlier about like, when you're performing, you, especially when you're obscured by, like, if you're wearing a costume or if someone is far away, you have to exaggerate your movements so that people can see it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So that's a way to transmit something, is to make it big enough so that someone can see it, so they can even like understand
that's what it is.
That's what it is. But it ends up kind of like,
does it make it something that it's not?
I guess it does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, it still is what it is. It's just you're making it big enough for someone to see that the thing that you're seeing is not necessarily the thing that it is, but it helps you. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
So you see people who, and again, because this is not a video podcast, like I'm, visualizing what a stilted, like super traditional kind of Ichimonji would look like. I mean, that's it. That is what it is. But I mean, you don't see anyone doing it like that.
No.
And if you do, it looks weird, right?
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't really fit. But also because like that's the exaggerated, or that was the version that like either was represented in pictures, or that's just the way it used to be because the way they fought were different, or because they were wearing really heavy armor, and things took longer to do because they had to like really get their weight going. So it was okay to be that big to get your stuff in motion.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, that's too much. You make it smaller over time, and even over the traditions of time, it doesn't have to be that big because we've learned, we've progressed, things have changed, things are smaller now. And that's what we're working towards is having more of an effect with less effort.
Yeah.
Right? That's To-Shin Do. Have more of an effect with less effort.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's also economics.
Yeah.
It
sure is. To-Shin Do.
What's the most we can do with the least amount? I like that.
Yeah, and then it's kind of up to you to decide what it is that you're doing. Right?
Yeah.
Because it could be a lot of different things.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
To-Shin Do is the thing that I'm doing.
Yep.
But until you start doing To-Shin Do, it's like, well, what is it really?
Yeah.
Well, they're the things that I see. They're the things you see.
Yeah.
I don't even know. There's probably so much. I mean, I know that there's so much that I still don't even like. I still haven't even caught a whiff of.
Oh, yeah.
But it's amazing to me in the 10 years that I've even been in the To-Shin Do sphere, the things that like I couldn't have possibly imagined when I was your rank.
Yeah.
I'm making I'm making it sound super hyped and profound, and it is. It's just super profound in such a subtle way.
Yeah.
But it really is that sort of thing that there are these things that you experience or either get an understanding of or realize or your perception of or the way that you think about something changes, and it might only like, okay, so you can see a lot of things that are happening, and I can tell you certain things based on my experience, and okay, so you may have an understanding of this concept or thing at like level 1, and I'm just like a sliding scale of level 1 is like the very first basic understanding, and like a level 10 would be like complete total like understanding of something, like absolute understanding, like the shift between like 1 and 3 on the understanding scale, like it's not even the fact that like you don't know that the thing is a thing at level 1. You know that the thing is there. It just it's just so much more and so much different, you know, as you start moving along. Right. And then the further you get along, the further away you understand that you are from
yeah, exactly.
like the more you move forward, the further away you are from actually understanding, which is where I am at. But it's one of those paths that like I am, the results so far have been good. So that kind of puts me in the mentality that I want to stay on this path because what I'm finding is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just to end it with another quote from Dr. Peterson. He's saying that what you do not yet know is more important than what you already know.
Yeah, that's a good one. So is that it? How do we wrap up here? You got a parting ways statement? You got any outro music?
No, insert outro music sometime later on a different podcast.
Are you gonna do any shout outs? Do any social media? Where can we?
Oh yes, we can do social media. What we can do
like,
is what's our group? What's our club's Facebook? Should
have. You're funny. So
if you want to Google To-Shin Do places near you, Google To-Shin Do places near you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so we are members of the Orlando To-Shin Do Club. That is Orlando To-Shin Do Club on Facebook. I think it's fully written out. The website would be OrlandoTSDC.com. That's ORLANDOTSDC.com. Orlando To-Shin Do Club. Yeah. That's our website. See, that was like a radio ad.
There we go.
I believe so. I'm not looking at it. That was strictly from memory. I believe that's what the website is. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram. I don't think we haven't posted anything on it.
I didn't even know that we had one.
Yeah, we do. We're pending on how to move forward with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but YouTube's good. But where are you putting this out? This podcast right here. Where are people listening to this?
They're listening to it as they're listening to it because
it could be anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Yes, could be anywhere that you listen to anything at any time. Yes. Hopefully YouTube, hopefully Spotify.
Okay.
And hopefully like the Apple Podcast app thingy, because I know about 61% of the human population has an iPhone now.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So my name is Michael Raptis. You can find me on Facebook, Michael J Raptis. That's the middle initial. I'm on Instagram. It's at Triple Secret, which is the To-Shin Do thing, by the way. I'm not very active on it, but hey, hit me up. Everything else, I'm not
don't
super
think I follow you. I'm gonna
active.
follow you real
pretty. You could say I'm pretty. I'm a ninja about that kind of stuff. I'm not super active.
There we go.
Yeah, triple secret.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts, words, and deeds. Sanmitsu.
What's
right? Sanmitsu, the triple secret. Thoughts, words, deeds.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So that's where that
Yep.
handle comes from. So it was fun. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Good setup, nice microphones.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of feedback this will generate. So if you're listening to this, why don't you give it a like, give it a comment?
Yeah.
You know, any kind of feedback. Do you have any questions? Maybe Jonathan will get back to you next time.
Yeah.
I may or may not be here.
Yeah. Well, definitely have you back on for sure.
Just a first-time guest.
Yep. There you go. How does it feel to be the first?
Potentially, because I think you've filmed other ones.
Well, I have, but this was most likely going to be the first one that goes up.
Yeah. No, it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Glad I could help.
Oh, yeah.
Glad I could help.
Yeah, Michael supplied us with the majority of our equipment here. So.
Well, I mean.
Well, the microphones.
Well, now we know your microphone work. Your other microphone works.
So my microphone works. I can make my stand work. I guess
Right,
with
so we're
that
good.
XLR, you know. But yeah, so it's good. Yep. So this has been the good, the bad, the ugly. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
You guys have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever it is, wherever you are.
Or have a terrible one. It's up to you, really. Who are we to say?
Well, we're gonna.
Just kidding. Of course.
Michael's gonna say that. I'm gonna say. I'm putting my positive vibes. I'm putting
Good, there we go.
the secret out there. You hear that, Mom?
Hey, the secret.
Yeah, the secret. I didn't read it, but I know what it's about. Anyways, all right. You guys keep it real, and I will catch you next time.
Later.